4 days of constant tripping have left still an acid reality in my head, and yeah, goddammit, I wish I was still the fuck up there, instead of coughing me lungs out from too much carbon monoxide here in good old New York City. It sounds like the real old show on the tube, Naked City, but there was 1 million people together in the rock relics of revolution in one dinky cow pasture, and every life holds a different tale of what their reality was like. The land was once a few hundred acres of cow pastures and woods, which for one weekend were turned into a swarming mass of hip humanity. And I caught a glimpse of revolution. I danced in the mud and the blood and the beer. Baby, we were in one cosmic entity. Our unity was our power, and we were the armies of the mojo-mutated rebels, juggling down the line to zap and be zapped by ourselves and our music. We were the social revolutionaries of hip energy, realizing for once the dope anthropic fantasies of post-revolutionary, post-scarcity society. We arrived like refugees seeking our places in the final Armageddon, knowing that we would not be fucked with, arriving by any means necessary. For 4 days doing it in the road was our reality, boogieing to Canned Heat and Credence Magic. Music was in the hearts and the minds and bodies of 1 million warriors of the rainbow. Our zonked, fumbling, dancing bodies brought us to enter the grounds for free. We were free, and for 4 days our microcosm of revolution was free. Anybody who sold food was ripped off. Anybody who sold dope was ripped off. Yeah, baby, I saw what I was fighting for. I was with people like the Indian gathering on the plains to celebrate the annual peyote ritual. We were a people gathered in the greatest manifestation of our culture, our music. Yeah, baby, my dope was free, and my food was free, and my clothes was free, and my shelter was free, and my water was free, my music was free, and honey, I was free. And that's what we're about, and that's what we're fighting for. We saw our revolution, and we built it, and we made it, and I dug it so much that I'd kill to make it happen forever. Monday morning, coming down to 6 or 7 tabs of acid, just finished making it with a chick by the swimming hole, and it was almost dawn, and Jimi Hendrix was just coming on, and I stood with my arm round my old lady for an hour, and Foxy Lady brought up a psychedelic sun to a now garbage-strewn and almost empty cow pasture, and Hendrix played, and electric bolts of universal dope energy brought up the sun to a full clear day, and Hendrix jerked off his guitar, and the clouds were gathering for hours, and around 10, Hey Joe brought up the dark clouds from the west, and where you going with that gun in your hand, and people truck back to the hip community and job and school, but they know and they feel, and it's down so deep in their heads that baby, this is where it's at, and they're going to fight to see it in their lives, and they're going to make it happen, and one day soon Hendrix will play and no one will leave, and we will be one for the rest of time. What was for sure was that the average public punter could see no distinction between the hippie proper and the urban guerrilla, between the advocate of armed revolution and the peace-loving, flower-giving, big-head freak. Truth was, we were a movement which ranged across several schools of thought but overlapped in perception and attitude, dress and lifestyle. Washington was burning, and US soldiers patrolled their own streets. Burn, baby, burn was heard across the length and breadth of the United States. The Vietnam Solidarity Campaign had planned a massive march and rally in Trafalgar Square. But the enemy wasn't in Trafalgar Square. And while the rally was still in progress, contingents in heavy linked armed columns started to do the Ho Chi Minh stomp out of the square. The Maoists bounced forward and back rhythmically, waving their shiny red books. International Marxist group in regiments with identical banners and the hammer and sickle imposed with the 4 of Trotsky's International. There were at least 4 different Fourth Internationals, by the way, at the same time. The Revolutionary Workers' Party Trotskyists would never be stuck in among this army, no. We will intervene in this struggle empirically, they told me, which meant basically selling your papers, while those not so empirically engaged give the cops some welly. Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh! Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh! Hair in a forest of windswept branches. The Lords of Anarchy linked arms in arm, black flags gripped like battering rams. From all sides of the square, Greek wedges of humanity swept forward, and the chorus was, Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh! Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh! Dare to struggle, we shall win! Long live Ho Chi Minh! Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh! The International Socialists, who thought all states of the world were capitalist and therefore didn't defend, critically or otherwise, the degenerated worker states or their leaders, countered, Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, how many trots have you done in? In the later October demonstration, but Ian's gone because Ian told me this, against the embassy, the Welsh anarchists chanted, ho, ho, rubbish bin. But it did not derail the overall chant, which would die for now, without political precision, for the Lords of Anarchy, with their bonny black banner. It wasn't a government they were fighting for, but defeat of US imperialism and a victory for the people of Vietnam. This was where the actual fight was. It wasn't about slogans and philosophy. There was no overall direction, but diverse directions. The warring factions of the revolutionary left were united in Vietnam, hated American imperialism, were touched by the high tide of revolt in America and the rest of Europe. The ball had passed to us now for Vietnam. Towards Grosvenor Square from two directions. One step forward, one step back, three steps forward, and a momentum of rage, building a unified wave of pressure. Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, we shall fight, we shall win, London, Paris and Berlin. The solid wall of police, ranks on ranks, would stand to hold us out of the square. When the red tide smashed forward into the black barrier, a frenzied battle broke out. The police's sudden kicking wave and rake of punches into the demonstrators' faces, which for a decade had broken the ranks of peaceful protesters, did not produce the panic collapse. The front rank, aye, lasses as well as lads, bloodied and fearful, held in place, and was impelled into the police lines. The second, third and fourth lines broke the linked formation and dived between the heads to stick hard punches into the police mugs. Helmets were seen flying in the air, individual lines of police going under. The columns behind kept coming relentlessly. I see the Merseyside anarchist banner amid the fray, and one or two of their tall, hairy, street-hard comrades in the middle of the struggle. Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh. They start to break, start to fall over one another, start to go down in a torrent of blows. Back ranks start to fall back, push back, they break arms, start to run, and the lines of red, flying, bouncing ranks sweep into the square from the north end. The cops still hold the Audley Street side. Meantime, the great park unfolds before us. The US Embassy looms large. Its great eagle mocks the surging, walking bodies, now laughing and breaking links as we go into the square. There's a moment's peace, and the police rush back into a great cordon they have thrown around the embassy. Our contingent, flushed and hearty, enter, seek a way to speak to all, climbing on the wall. Comrades, comrades, don't charge yet. Wait until everyone's in the square. The number of pigs can't increase. We have them trapped here. Wait until all the march has entered and then reform. But the Maoists, coming now into the square and catching sight of the objective, renew their bouncing motion, bouncing on the spot just for now. Comrades, comrades, wait for a combined effort. Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, bounding now towards the police cordon. The police faces ashen as the pro-Chinese banner poles dropped like lances towards them. Then in a diagonal, the IMG and others started to sweep towards the same point in the cordon. U.S. Embassy, burn baby burn! U.S. Embassy, burn baby burn! A confusion of voices, and now screams as the bodies rake each other. The truncheons rise and fall. A frenzy of banners rip to shreds as they cave and cleave downwards into the helmets. A police surge, the crowd responds, a volley of smoke bombs, and a huge cheer goes up. Geordie Kong, Geordie Kong, Geordie, Geordie, Geordie Kong. We had met up, long lost friends and comrades, now back together. We are filled with the thrill of belonging, like the we are the mods, we are the mods, we are the mods of Quadrophenia. We revelled in bravado and the notion that we at least were the real McCoy. Banners become lances, every arm was linked. We stomped that road like it was Johnson and Nixon's heads. The thin ranks of police, left exposed to support against the main thrust, steeled itself and was rocked off its feet as the northern horde crashed forward. A sudden confusion of bodies gone and doon, police trying to put the boot in and draw truncheons at the same time, lads in a spinning, kicking, punching, head-butting street fight. This wasn't the practice of post-war British demonstrations. The cops had no order now, isolated, surrounded. We had no ranks before us. All the police were to our right. We had the steps before us. Howe'er, form up! And the ranks start to come back. 10 ranks bouncing in warm-up, while the cops quickly tried to drag bodies to form a line.